President Trump was asked about his most eye-catching tweet of the week. James Comey better hope there are no tapes of our conversations before he starts leaking to the press.
What about the idea that in a tweet you said that there might be tape recordings?
Well, that I can't talk about. I won't talk about that. All I want is for Comey to be honest, and I hope he will be.
So tapes became the instant lead story everywhere, echoes of Watergate, parallels to the Saturday Night Massacre with Richard Nixon. Overreacting to a single tweet, or is that so explosive that we all have to go crazy?
I think it's totally legitimate to cover this, and we actually got some good media coverage out of it, meaning good stories about it, like learning that, in fact, presidents do tape conversations in the White House. That's not just that's not unique to Donald Trump.
Usually foreign leaders now, yeah.
They usually don't threaten, which is what that was. It was a threat to James Comey, and that is what is interesting. James Comey the media didn't do a great job of masking James Comey's identity as he was leaking stories after his firing, and I think Trump is frustrated with leaks, in large part because so many of them are untrue. I mean, we had stories on front pages of newspapers claiming that the deputy AG had threatened to resign. He denied that on the record. We were told that James Comey was fired after asking for more resources in the Russia probe. That turned out to be untrue. We did not see corrections on these stories or retractions of these, even though on the record we had multiple people denying them, including sometimes the principals in question. So this leak issue, where the media relies so much on leaks, almost to the exclusion of sourced people with names, is very frustrating, and I think that's also...
The business about the tapes came from a leak. It was a New York Times story quoting associates of Comey, or saying Comey had told associates that Trump, in a dinner a week into the administration, asked him to pledge loyalty, that Comey declined, said he would be honest with him. President Trump told Jeanine Pirro, so nothing wrong with the question, but he didn't ask it. So is the press covering a head fake here, or we don't know?
Well, I mean, in this case, the media hysteria of which you speak is being fed by Donald Trump by putting out a tweet which says, he better not be saying this, I might have tapes of it. Now, that is a radioactive tweet to put out on top of the bonfire that's already there. That there's something about Trump in the way all of this was handled. There was a way to handle it. You know, as you say, Comey was an equal opportunity target. Nobody, maybe he was doing his job, but nobody liked him. He could have handled this differently than having one story and another story, and then topping it off, the cherry on the sundae is this revelation he's not going to talk about that he could be taping.
Right. When I saw Sean Spicer sort of deflect the question and say the president said all he was going to say about that, I knew that they were going to leave it out there for the press to
continue to talk about as another distraction, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah. How can you talk about health care when you have the president, as Kellyanne said, why aren't we talking about health care this week when you have the president putting out this?
For instance, one of the ways you could respond to this tweet, and I do not deny it's explosive or even problematic, is thinking about how we don't actually have good answers from James Comey about whether he did or did not start an investigation of leaks that came out from the FBI, which is really not just bad, but criminal in some cases. He declined to answer whether he'd even done an investigation. That would be a good line of inquiry for the media to pursue. Is there an investigation? What's happening there? Why aren't we getting leaks on that investigation if it's real? That would just be an example of another way to cover it.
I hope everybody is writing this down. By the way, it was sort of a weird situation this week when the president met with the Russian foreign minister and the Russian ambassador. No U.S. press allowed, and then these pictures emerged from a Russian photographer. The White House later said had been kind of deceived, but the U.S. press was barred. This is the only record we have, and it came from the Russians. Molly Hemingway, Margaret Carlson, Aaron McPike, great to see you this Sunday.